Good to go.
Hey guys, welcome back to Mrs. Nicol's at-home biology classroom, also known as my den. Today is Wednesday, March 25th, 2020. So what this video is going to be about today is going to be about something called a dichotomous key. You heard a little bit about those in the video, the videos that you watched yesterday. So a dichotomous key is basically a tool that you can use to classify living things. You can also use it to classify non-living things. You guys might have used one before. If you've ever used something called a tree key, where you walked around outside, looked at the bark on different types of trees or the leaves on different types of trees, and used a system to classify them by going through sets of 2 choices at each point along the key. Dichotomous is going to be a term that actually combines some Latin with some Greek. The gist of it is basically that it's just going to give you 2 choices at each step along the path as you're trying to classify. So what you're going to be doing today, what I'm going to be going over, is going to be a dichotomous key dealing with sharks. So what you're going to want to do, if possible, is have that up on your screen, or better yet, if you can print it and have it in front of you, that would be awesome. It's going to print as 2 pages, which really is just the front and the back of that document. So if you don't have them in front of you right now, you might want to pause this and then come back to it once you've got them in front of you, or you can just go ahead and listen now and follow along. So kind of the major things to remember when you're dealing with dichotomous keys is every time you start to try to classify a new thing, a new organism, in this case a new shark, you always start back up at the very top of the key, which for this one is going to be at 1A. So every time you start a new shark, you go back to 1A. So the way this shark key works is it's got, I think, 14 different types of sharks listed on there. These are actually different shark families. So if you think back to the videos you watched yesterday, which dealt with classification of living things, specifically the Linnaean system, Carolus Linnaeus came up with a system of 7 different taxonomic levels, and those levels, just to remind you, were kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. Family is the level that you're going to be dealing with for this shark key, okay? So the first thing you're going to want to do is look on the side of the paper that has a big shark at the bottom of the page, and it's going to be this page right here that I'm talking about. You want to look at the shark that's at the bottom of the page. It lists out some anatomical terms for you as far as what the different types of fins are called. Okay, any fin that's on the back of the shark's body is going to be called a dorsal fin. Some sharks have 1 of those, some sharks have 2, some don't have any, just kind of depends. Any fin that's at the back end of the body, what most of us would call a tail, is actually called a caudal fin. Caudal in Latin means tail. And then on the belly side of the shark's body, which is what we would call the ventral side, some of them will have pectoral fins. That's going to be near where the pectoralis major and minor muscles would be. Some of them have pelvic fins. That's right about where your hip bones or the shark's hips would be. And then some of them a little bit further back from that, going closer to the tail, are going to have what's called an anal fin. Okay, you're also going to need to pay attention to the number of gill slits that the shark has, and you'll have to count them to classify this. You need to also pay attention to the shark's mouth and how that mouth opens. If when the shark has its mouth open, it kind of has the nose or the snout pointing further out from where the mouth is, but the mouth opens downward kind of from the belly side. That's called a ventral mouth. Some sharks will have a mouth all the way at the very, very tip, kind of at the front of the snout. That's going to make a difference in how you classify them. So what I want to do is I am going to help you. Sorry, that's my cat meowing in the background. If you hear him, I shut one of them out. I'm going to help you do the first couple of sharks. So we're going to start with shark number 1. So this is on this side of the page. It's got all the pictures of sharks. Start with number 1. It kind of looks like a kite, sort of. We're going to go through the paper and I'm going to help you classify that. So I'm going to start at 1A. It says anal fin present or body not kite-like in shape. If that's true, you go to number 2. But as I look at it, this body is kite-like in shape. So I look at 1B and it says body is kite-like in shape. So I go all the way down to number 10. So I go down to 10A where it says snout long and lined with sharp saw-like teeth. I don't see any teeth at all. So now I go to 10B. 10B says snout not saw-like. If that's true, go to number 11. So I go to 11A. It says the body is normal and not kite-like. No, this definitely looks like a kite. So I go to 11B. Body kite-like, go to 12. So I go to 12A. It says small dorsal fin present near the tip of the tail. So look at the tip of the tail. There is a very small dorsal fin at the tip of the tail. That's true. So shark number 1 is going to be from family Ragidae, Rajidae. So that's what you would write on the line for shark number 1. All these names are in Latin, so you're going to notice that they all end in DAE. That's going to be true for all family names of sharks. All family names for all animals are going to end in AE, one way or another. Okay, so then you go to shark number 2, okay? I'm going to start back up at 1A because I'm starting a new shark, so I always start up at 1A for a new shark. So I'm going to go straight down the list starting at 1A. It says, for 1A, it says anal fin present or body not kite-like in shape. If that's true for that shark, then you go to number 2. So it does not look like a kite, and it does have an anal fin. It's going to be, if you start at the mouth and count back the fins, 1, 2, 3, third fin back is going to count as that. So I go to 2A. It says 6 gill slits present. So count the gill slits, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It has 5 gill slits, so I go to number 3. I go to 3A. 3A says only 1 dorsal fin. If that's true, then I'm done. But if I count, it's got 2 dorsal fins, a big one and a smaller one further back. So that means I go to number 4. 4A, always go to choice A each time you switch to a new number. 4A says mouth at the very front of the head rather than on the ventral, meaning underside surface. I look at its mouth. It is considered a ventral mouth, just like the shark on the front. So that means I go to number 5. So 5A says head expanded on side with eyes at end of expansion. That would be like a hammerhead shark. This is not that. So head is not expanded. I go to number 6. Number 6A says caudal fin crescent in shape. If you're not sure what that means, that's like a half moon shape. It's like what the shark on the front of the paper look like. That's not true. It does not have that. So I go to number 7. 7A says first dorsal fin, almost half the total length of the body. The first dorsal fin is right up here at the very top, and it's really small. So that's not true in this case. 7B says first dorsal fin normal length. If that's true, go to number 8. So I go to 8A. Caudal fin as long as the entire body. Caudal fin is the tail fin. It has a huge caudal fin, and if I measure it, it is basically as long as the whole rest of the body. So that means that shark number 2 on this paper is going to be in family Allopidae. It's Alopiidae. Common name for this shark, by the way, it's called a thresher shark because when it swims, it threshes that tail kind of back and forth to each side. So what you're going to do is you're going to finish the rest of that paper, which means you're going to do sharks number 3 through 14. You're then, if you printed that out, you're going to take a picture of what you did and email it back to me. Your other option would be you could write these names on a sheet of notebook paper and email it back, or you could type these on like a Google Doc and send it to me that way, either through Google Classroom or you could email it to me directly. Hope you guys are doing okay. Talk to you later. Thanks. Bye-bye.